was scrolling the internet, as one does, and I came across, it was like a Pinterest, Pinterest pin, and it was talking about like easy houseplants to care for. So then I went down this rabbit hole, and then I was just looking up all these articles of easy houseplants, and I was thinking, I have killed some of these plants that people say, oh, you can just set it and forget it. So that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. If you hear something gnawing in the background, that is my dog playing with his bone. Anyways, the first plant that I saw very consistently in all of these articles was the snake plant or Sansevieria plant. And part of me does agree with them and thinking that this is a really easy plant that you can just set it and forget it. However, my thoughts changed about, it was either a year or a year and a half ago when I actually killed a snake plant. One of the easiest, I really do believe it is really easy, plants to care for. And here's what happened. So don't be like me and learn lessons from me throughout this video. I had the snake plant and I've had it for like maybe 3 or 4 years. Probably closer to 3 because I killed it last year and I've been here for 4 years. But anyways, so I had that plant for a while, and eventually I realized that I wanted to move it to another location in my house. And I also wanted to give it a new pot. So I had this really cute pot that I had used for another plant that I ended up not liking it in, and it was in my garage. So I was like, I can clean this pot and use it. It was awesome. So I had that snake plant in that pot, and I would water it maybe every month, every other month, because you don't have to water it as frequently as other plants, but it still does need to be watered and it needs light. So the thing about this pot was that it had a drainage hole, but it had a plug in it. And I always remembered that, and I just always remembered that. But for some reason, as time went on, I forgot to remove that plug. And over a couple of months, every time I watered it, I would just like sit it outside and water it because I knew it had a drainage hole, but I forgot about the plug. So I would sit it out and water it, and it would be hot outside, so there would be no water when I came out, and I didn't think anything of it, and I would bring the whole plant back inside. And then over those few months, I noticed that the leaves would look limp and they were like yellowing, and I was so shocked because I've never had any problem with a snake plant ever, and I could not for the life of me figure out what was wrong with this plant. I was like, it doesn't have pests, like I've treated it, I water it, what is the problem? So eventually I was like, you know what, maybe I will just take it out of this plant pot, and it was in a nursery pot inside of the decorative pot. So I was thinking maybe I should just change the pot, or maybe, you know, move it. Maybe I want to sit it outside or whatever. I'll change something about it. So I took it out of the decorative pot, and I realized that I had not removed the drainage plug for months. So it got root rot because it was sitting in water, a lot of water, for months on end, and the plant rotted. And you know, my lesson for you is to always check that the drainage plug is not there and that your plants have good drainage if you're going to use something with a hole, because they could get root rot and you could end up with a dead snake plant. The next plant that I saw very consistently was the aloe vera. Now, I haven't had an aloe vera in years, and I had one when I first moved to Austin, and I had it for a while, and eventually it did not like my care. So one of the things with aloe vera plants is that you can let them become drier than other house plants, because that is kind of like, is that my air conditioner? Bubba, do you hear that? It's so loud. Let me go turn that off. Okay. Anyways, the aloe vera can generally go longer without water compared to other houseplants, because a lot of other houseplants are tropical houseplants and they need a lot of water. And my mindset back then was, let me just ignore this plant for as long as possible and then water it when I think about it. And the biggest issue with that, one, is that I wasn't hydrating the plant properly. And two, the soil became hydrophobic anyways. So when soil becomes hydrophobic, it basically resists water. Like it doesn't suck up the water when you water it. So I started to notice that. And after like a couple of waterings, I was like, okay, I was just looking at it one day and I went to like pull it. Like, I don't know what in my head told me to just like, Courtney, just pull on a leaf, like pull on the plant. And I did, and it came off. So I had been watering a ghost plant for months. It had no roots. It just, yeah. So that's what happened to the really easy to care for aloe vera plant. Now is one that I feel like I always see on the list, but maybe not this one specifically, but it was still on the list, is the Pothos plant. Usually they feature the golden pothos because that's the most common, but the pothos that I've killed, honestly I've killed it more than one time, is the neon pothos. And over the years, I have found that the reason why I have consistently killed this plant is that they're thirstier than other pothos. Generally, I feel like in my care, pothos are plants that can go a little bit longer without water, but they also have very good signs to tell you like, hey, I need some water. So it kind of works out. But for some reason, every time I have a neon pothos, it dies, except for the one that I have recently. And I think it's because I finally realized that they are thirstier than my other pothos, and they don't necessarily tell me in the way that my other pothos do. Like, I have a marble queen pothos that I've had for a long time, and that one, when it's thirsty, its leaves just kind of like, they go sad, like, and it's very quick, and I know right away, like, I need to go water this. But the neon pothos, it's like it's there, and then it's droopy, and then it's dead. So it's a very even faster process that oftentimes startles me. But the one that I have recently, I have had that for a year. It was actually two plants. One I had a year and a half, and the other one I had at least a year. And I wanted to combine them to make a really big plant. And I didn't do it for a long time because I just didn't do it. But I did do it recently in the last few months, and it is now alive and it is happy. And I'm hoping I can have this plant for a long, long time because I love neon houseplants and I love the neon pothos. But yeah, I've killed so many. This next one pains me to say because, well, one, because I'm surprised it's even on a list. And two, I have never successfully grown one of these, but I am going to buy one eventually, probably when I move, because I just don't want to buy one now. But it is the Fiddle Leaf Fig. And this one shocked me to even see on the list because I have never successfully grown a Fiddle Leaf Fig. And I don't know why. It seems like for a while it's going well, and then it's just not. And it's either the soil becomes hydrophobic, or it's too much water. It's not enough water. It doesn't like the light. I moved it. I blinked at it. This is a plant that I have not been able to figure out, and it's one of my wish list plants because it was the first one that I ever wanted, and I have had so many. I can't even tell you how many I've had, and it just devastates me that I have not figured out how to properly care for them. I feel like now though, my knowledge has expanded on how to care for plants, and I feel like my patience is a lot better as well. And I also feel like I'm more capable of figuring out problems when it comes to my house plants, and I'm more willing to take risks in that realm. So I think the next time I have one, I'm hoping it'll be successful. But I did get a really good tip. I think it was last year or the year before, but it was last time I had a Fiddle Leaf Fig, and someone told me that it's easier to grow them when they're already mature instead of trying to grow one of the small ones that you usually get at like big box stores. And that is a tip that I took to heart, and I will keep it with me. And I think that's one of the reasons why I don't want to get one now, even though I've seen some really gorgeous big ones for about $100, which I think is a good deal for them, especially with how big and beautiful they are. But it would be irresponsible of me to buy one right now. One, because I don't have any space I don't have a space where I think it will be perfect, because I already have so much, like, I already have big plants, and I want to have like a really like styled place for it to look really cute, and also a place for it to grow really well. And two, because I'm moving, I know that packing up my plants is going to be a nightmare already. And a lot of plants are already going to be sensitive to move. And I just know a Fiddle Leaf Fig will be so sensitive to move. And I just do not want to stress myself out in that way. But I've had so many problems. And I never bought one again after the last one, which was at least a year, if not a year and a half ago. And yeah, this one, it like kind of breaks my heart because I just love it. I do not think it's easy though. This is one I don't think is easy. Maybe it's because I've never successfully grown one, but I don't know. I just don't think it's that easy to care for. And yeah, that's what I think. This plant still haunts me to this day. It's the Chinese money plant, and I don't think I have had one since 2021. And I do see this plant everywhere, and people are like, it's so easy to care for, it's so easy, and you just can propagate it, blah, blah, blah. Come on. I literally, this plant. I think one of the biggest reasons why I wasn't able to successfully grow this plant is because it was thirstier than I thought it would be. And also I had a lot of trouble when it would lean. It started to grow, but it was like leggy and it would lean and it just looked like shit, to be honest with you. And, you know, I don't know that I would ever get a Chinese money plant again because I don't know. After I killed the last one that I had, I just looked at it and I was just like, I don't even know if I even like you. Like, I don't know if I got that plant because of the hype or because I actually liked it. And I was just like, I'm not sure that I even like you. And maybe I was giving that plant that vibe and that's why it died. But I truly don't believe I would ever get one again. If somebody gave it to me, I would grow it and I would take care of it. But I would not go out of my way to probably ever buy a Chinese money plant ever again. I've never successfully grown it. It just it's not my vibe. I want to thank you so much for watching today's video, and comment below some easy plants that you have killed because I know I can't be alone in this. I want to thank you again so much for watching today's video, and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.